And hello, welcome to Solo Playthroughs. We got a really weird one today. We went from interesting to weird in my head, and weird's probably better. This game's really good. I'm going to put that out there. But this game is very much not for me long term. I've enjoyed exploring it, and then I'm going to only play this competitively from now on. And what I've seen in threads about this game and the solo mode of this game is among the most divisive solo games that I've seen out there, at least of solo games that are as talked about as Zia. I've heard about Zia a whole lot. If you haven't figured it out by now, we are playing Zia, Legends of a Drift System, along with the Zia, Embers of a Forsaken Star, which gives us the solo mode for Zia. What I've discerned from looking at all these comments and threads is that if you are a gamer who just loves emergent narrative, who doesn't really care about winning, you just want a story, this game is awesome. And if you are a gamer that really wants to get deep with a crunchy game that has a lot of tactics and strategy and narrative second, then this game is going to be a big miss for you. And if you're somewhere in between, like I am, you might like it, you might not. I like it enough, but this is not a game that I want to get really deep with, because for me, it just needs more mechanics. There is a ton of randomness in this game. There is definitely some strategy, and make no mistake, it's hard. I was really struggling to get a win, one single win with this game for a while. It was driving me nuts. And then I actually watched a recent playthrough by Colin from One Stop Co-op Shop, and I realized that there were some parts of the game I hadn't appreciated yet, things about what breaks line of sight and stuff like that. So we'll kind of see that play out. Before I go on, I do need to say that this is a partial review copy. And what I mean by that is most of this game is lent to me by a friend. My friend Charlie lent me another game, the same Charlie that lent me Anachrony. So he let me hold on to Zia for a couple of months now. And then I reached out to Far Off Games, who I have heard nothing but amazing things about their customer service. And they were amazing to work with for me. And they sent me a couple of missing components that Charlie was missing. One they had to send to me twice because I asked for the wrong thing, because I'm that guy. Very sorry to Far Off Games, and thank you for dealing with my incompetence. And then they also sent me a copy of the mini expansion that is the Cell Sword. The Cell Sword can be useful in solo play. I haven't had a game where it's come into play all that much. Games I've tried to kind of force it into my strategy, I found it a little bit lacking. So we'll see if we get into the Cell Sword here today, but it is another non-player character ship that occupy space on the board and can do some things. And they also sent me credit tokens, because the base game comes with 1,000 credit tokens and 5,000 credit tokens, but there's so many times where the 2,000 credit tokens come in handy. And that was another mini expansion that Far Off Games just sent to me. I didn't even ask for that one. As always with review copies, you can take whatever I say with a grain of salt. My takeaway from this game, as I already said, it's been really fun for me to explore, but this is not going to be a top solo game for me personally, but really excited to put it on the channel, because I do think that my more narrative hungry subscribers might really appreciate another look at this game. So where to start? Playing Zia solo, there's really two options. One, you can just play a one-off. The other way to play it solo is that you can try to do a solo campaign. The solo campaign is interesting. It's a series of 10 games. Each game would have a different goal, and then you have all these like perks and level ups, and you basically cycle through the ships until you manage to win 10 games. I don't have any interest in carrying through the campaign. This is not the game that I really want to spend that much time with as a solo gamer. I've really enjoyed this game competitively. Let me kind of reiterate that, and I'm going to go back to that, but it's got to be the right group of people that just want some zaniness and some craziness and some wild dice rolls that really affect everything. You roll to do everything. Now, the expansion does give you a lot more options to mitigate rolls, and you'll see some of that. And when I say the expansion, I am talking about the Embers of a Forsaken Star expansion, which is the most comprehensive expansion that does a whole lot. It changed your exploration tokens. There are parts of the base game you just take out and you replace, and it added a bunch of other ways to outfit your ship and things like that. So I'll try to differentiate what's from the expansion and what's not as I play, but note that this game would be significantly different if you only had the base game. You can't even play it solo without Embers of a Forsaken Star. So if you are looking at this game for solo, you're going to want to be prepared to get both the Legends of a Drift System and Forsaken Star. I also do have the mini expansion of Zia Missions and Powers that just adds a lot of cards to this mission deck, and we'll see some of those come up. The Missions and Powers expansion also gives you an alternate power for each of the ships that you might be playing as you go. So speaking of that, let's just get right into setup. The first part of setup when you're playing with Embers of a Forsaken Star is you're going to find this tile. This is the Nur tile. I'm sure I'm going to butcher a lot of these words here today. And then you're going to take the rest of the galaxy tiles and we will shuffle these up. Now, yes, that looks very tiny on this huge blue table I have. Trust me, this game expands and will take up a ton of real estate on your table. It is wild how much room that a game of Xia could ultimately take up as you play it. There is an expanding universe and you are going to be a big part of exploring it, wanting to get out as many tiles as possible, as quickly as possible, so that you have more options to score points. When you're playing solo, this game does become a serious race to points. And that is one of the things that some people don't like about it. Whereas if you're not playing solo, the game is super sandboxy and you're kind of just floating around and playing and doing whatever you want. Solo, you lose some of that sandboxiness because you're really forced into racing to get points. That is if you care about winning. I definitely read a number of comments though from people who are talking about this game that they clearly don't care about winning. They just want to mess around with some spaceships and just enjoy that time, and that's how they relax. Not how I approach my games, but I find it super interesting and cool that that is a big part of the draw of this game for other people. So now that we have near, I'm going to take 4 more tiles off of here. And what we're looking for is at least 2 spawn points and 4 tiles total. Now I did get Xia itself. That is a star that will blow you up if you end up into it. So we have to replace Xia because Xia cannot be part of the first 4. Do we have 4 spawn points? Spawn points are going to be numbers with circles. We have 0 spawn points because that's super weird. We have 1 spawn point there, which is the smuggler's den. So we're going to see the sellsword right off the bat. And now we have another spawn point there, which is Lunari. We are looking for Kemplar 2, which is the home planet of the Enforcer, or Loth, which is the home planet of the Scoundrel. We don't see either of them, so I'm going to go back into the rest of this deck, and I'm going to specifically pull out Kemplar 2, and I'm going to pull out the planet of Loth. There's Loth. Where's Kemplar 2? Kemplar, where are you? I need to find you. All right, there you are. So I'm going to take that out. I'm going to take Xia. I'm going to shuffle Xia back in here. So we actually have 6 tiles to place to start, which is super interesting. Normally, there's a lot of very stringent rules in how you set up the board. However, when you are playing solo, you can arrange the initial tiles however the heck you want. So we're going to have some thinking. I'm not going to belabor it too much. We'll just see how I want to do this. Hopefully, I can explain my thought process a bit as we go. So I'm trying to get these shuffled a little bit. And what I'm going to do is now, since neither Loth nor Kemplar 2 were in my initial tiles, I'm going to add 5 more tiles to those 2. And we're going to make sure that both Loth and Kemplar 2 are in the top 7 tiles of the game. So basically, since they're the home planets of 2 of your NPCs, we want to make sure the NPCs get involved in the action quickly. The MCCs have characteristics. When they spawn, we're going to choose a behavior pattern for them, and that can have a wild swing on how this game is going to go for you. This is now our galaxy deck. I'm going to put these 7 tiles on top, and there we go. That is going to be totally set, and we'll get that up in the corner up there. Now I need to arrange them in any way that I want. I'm going to put Lunari over here. So now I'm just setting the rest of these up. There's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason into why I did what I just did. The big thing though is I wanted to have a spawn point near this ability to excavate. I wanted to have this tile near where the kiln's going to be, and we'll get into the kilns when I start putting the NPC ships on the board. We'll actually start with 2 NPC ships on the board because we have the kiln and the sellsword, but we'll not see the merchant, the enforcer, or the scoundrel. And really the kiln is not exactly an NPC. It is just another ship on the board that becomes the centerpiece of the universe when you're playing with Embers of a Forsaken Star. But there's some cool things that can happen in the kiln and only the kiln. So the second step of setup is we're going to shuffle these relic tokens. These relic tokens were part of the expansion for Embers of a Forsaken Star. And to get a relic token, you have to go onto a dead planet. You have to go onto the excavate space, and you have to roll a die, specifically a D20. If you roll an 11 through a 20, you actually get one of these tokens, but you do not flip it over. But once you take what you found in this dead planet back to the kiln, you can actually do a sift action turn it over and either get the reward or get a fame point, whatever you choose. I do need to put exploration tokens around the board wherever you see one of those question marks. I put all the exploration tokens in a bag instead of having them all face down in a pile somewhere. It is pretty easy to tell which is face down or face up. Just feel for the curve on the unexposed side, and that will make it easier. I do the same thing when I play Maze Knight, so any of you who have watched one of my Maze Knight videos will know how much I love pulling things out of bags. I just find that so much better for setup. So there's going to be a bunch of exploration tokens on the board. Exploration tokens can do two things for you. One, they will give you an immediate reward or an immediate detriment. Some of these give you ice damage. What's ice damage? It's bad. Ice damage, again, is another thing that came with the Embers of a Forsaken Star expansion. The other thing is once you get 2 of these exploration tokens, you can immediately trade them in for either a fame point or for credits. Early on, we will definitely want to do that for credits. Later, we will definitely want to do that for fame. We'll see how that plays out. So now we're going to go to step 3. You will note that there were some titles that you were told to take out of the game. So if you're new to this game and you have the titles, you're going to want to make sure that you read the solo rule card very closely to make all the modifications to both the title deck and to the event deck, because there are some titles and events that will not work in a solo game of Xia. So I'm shuffling up the rest of this title deck, and then I'm going to go ahead and flip one over to start the game. Normally, you only get titles when you have somebody cross over the point threshold that is yellow over here on the scoreboard. However, in the solo game, they're going to give you a chance to go for a title right off the bat. Let me shuffle this one more time. We'll put a first title out. It is Survivor. Become stranded in a nebula and then return to full energy at a planet. Once you do that during your status phase, you will no longer have to roll against yourself when entering a nebula. That could be really strong. We'll see what nebula opportunities I have. On the board right now, I do not see any nebulas. Here we have a lawful planet. We know it's a lawful planet because it has a blue planetary shield. This is a star. We cannot go inside that red shield. We will die. Don't go in stars. Here we have some ice asteroid fields. We have the dead planet I already discussed about. We have some asteroid fields. We have a outlaw planet, and we're going to put the sellsword right inside that planet. Normally, the NPCs, when they spawn, they will go on the spawn points on the tile that triggers them being placed on the board. The sellsword's different. He is actually inside the planet. At any time, I can fly my ship adjacent to the sellsword, but I have to actually be on the outlaw planet, and I can give the sellsword $1,000, and then the sellsword will work for me. However, that's a problem because if you enter an outlaw planet, you have to take a bounty, and then you become an outlaw. And then this dude, the enforcer, wants to shoot you out of the sky, which can be a big, giant pain. So not the easiest of decisions, but it might be something we do anyway. Over here is Farron's Call. Farron's Call has 2 exploration tokens on it, but that is an anomaly. You see those circular swirls with arrows. If I fly my ship onto that, I am forced to roll a die, and I am forced to move along those arrows as far as the number that I rolled. Once I get to here, I have to roll a die, and I'm forced to move as far as I'm told. If I roll a 6 when I get there, however, I go into that. Remember that red border? Yeah, that's bad. You blow up and die. However, there's 2 low-hanging, juicy exploration tokens just looking right at you. So might be a risk we're going to take at some point during this playthrough. Here is Neo Vosted. Neo Vosted has some ice asteroids. It also has a comet. Come over here, comet. Comet is also an anomaly. When you get onto that circle, you're going to roll a die and the comet's going to move. Now, the comet can move past a ship that is on its orbit. However, if it stops in the same location as a ship on its orbit, that ship is destroyed. One thing you'll see all over the board are these like yield signs with exclamation points in it. Those exclamation points mean that as a minor action during movement, you can actually draw a mission card. However, if you already have an active mission, you must discard that active mission before you draw and look at other mission cards. Usually when you're drawing mission cards, you will draw 3, you keep the one you want, and then you can keep that as a mission that you're trying to complete. Missions are very random. Your ability to do 1 or more during the course of a game will vary widely from game to game. Should also mention that this title, The Chasm, has a couple other things going for it. We have the Outlaw Planet in Key, and Key has the ability that where you can trade one kind of cube into other kinds of cubes, which could be important because right now the only kind of cubes that I can sell on this board is going to be purple. The purple is called cyber. So if I had pink cubes and I wanted to try to sell something and I was planning to go over to Lunari, I might go into Key and try to sell there. The problem is going into Key, that's also an outlaw planet. So guess what? I get a bounty. Now I'm an outlaw. Now I cannot enter Lunari easily. I'd have to actually try to fly through the planetary shield, but that means I need to roll a d20, and if I roll bad, it could kill me. So lots of things that can kill you in space, apparently. The chasm tile, in addition to Key, also has 2 of those little current streams on them. So if I land on this gray one, I have to roll a d6, and that will take me wherever that goes. If I land on a red one, that will take me wherever that goes. If that takes me off that tile, that could be really good. It could be really bad. I'd basically be forced to put another tile on the board and go right where it says based on the hookup with the symbols on the board. You don't have to do it at setup. I did it anyway. Whenever you place a new tile, you're going to link up either square to square, circle to circle, line to line, arrow to arrow. So you choose the side that you're joining before you look at the tile, and then you join. And if you're blind jumping or if you're forced off by an anomaly, you'll hope for the best. I did just mention another thing we'll want to think about during this game, blind jumping. We'll explain that as I start to do some movement. All right, so I'm going to give one more shuffle to this missions deck, and we'll put this over here. I'm going to shuffle the event cards. Events will come out as someone reaches the pink spots on the famed point track. The point track in the expansion replaced the point track in the base game because the events were actually added in the Embers of a Forsaken Star expansion. When you're not playing in the campaign, when you're playing a campaign, it depends on what you're trying to do in that game, what goal you're trying to check off on your campaign, what the actual fame point total target is going to be. In a one-off game, you can play to whatever the heck you want. I could play a game to 3 if I wanted to. I'm going to play a game to 20. And hopefully that will give us some opportunities for a bunch of cool things to happen. It could just mean that I'm just going to get absolutely destroyed and it's going to be an epic walloping. But hey, it'll be fun. So this little thing means victory is at 20 and I'll be master of the universe, and then I can turn my ship over and read you the victory story, which will be amazing if it works out. Now, there are piles of components for this game. Over to my right, off screen, I will have all my damage cubes. I have all my credits. I have a bunch of cargo cubes. I have all the various fittings for my ships. There's just so much in that tray. I'm just going to leave that over there. I also have a bunch of minis for ships that I could fly. There is a ton of cool little goodies that come with this game for sure. Now, I'm going to put the kiln on near, just like we said, and the kiln has this handy chart that goes with it. The kiln is a hub of trade and commerce. You can enter or exit the kiln from an adjacent space, and when you do, you can put yourself in any of these 3 spots on this card. Additionally, when you do that, just like when you get on here and you roll the comet, when you dock on the kiln, you roll this die and the kiln moves. Now you could do that in the middle of a movement, which is bananas. So say I have 3 points of movement, I use 1 to get on the kiln, I roll this die, and then that goes wherever, and then I can move off with the 2 more, all as part of the same movement, which is fairly cool. So basically it's like a minor action as part of your move. So you can basically slingshot yourself around the galaxy a little bit. Additionally, on the kiln is the only place where you can sell Ember. Ember is something that you can get out of some ice asteroids. We do not have that possibility on the board just yet. Additionally, here you can spend an action to sift. That thing I said about movement, I can't have 3 points of movement, move 1 to get on here, do a sift action, do a sell action, and then still have 2 points of movement left. Those are not minor actions. Selling or sifting would actually require you to forgo any movement you have left over. Then if you wanted to move again on the same turn, you would have to fire up an engine, or you would have to use your impulse. That will make some more sense in a few minutes. So I'm going to put the kiln Karn right in the center of the star. And if certain events come out, we might have to move it. But for now, it's just a good place for it to be in the center of this universe here. We have these event tiles. The event tiles are there just in case we need reminders of certain events are in place. So we'll just leave them in a pile. And now we have this economy board. The economy board helps to make sure that it's not going to be possible to continue to buy one resource, go sell it somewhere else, buy a resource, go sell it somewhere else, because eventually if we buy too many resources from our planet, we will actually run out of that resource. There would be no more existing anywhere in the universe, because now it goes on this economy board. The economy board is a very smart upgrade from the base game, and I really love the expansion and what it does to this game. I'm going to take the D6. This is the D6 that comes with the game, the blue die. The green die is a D8, the yellow die is a D12, and the red die is a D20. I'm going to go ahead and roll this D6 for each one of these 5 materials, and we're going to set the board. Now note, we're not rolling for Ember. Ember, you can only get from a quarry or for excavating. I also should mention that this economy board only comes into play for buying and selling. It does not come into play when you are getting cubes from other means. Like some of these exploration tiles will give us cubes. And when you sell, generally speaking, there are some exceptions to this. Like if you sold on low, it's not going to do this for you. Generally, when you're selling, you'll produce a certain kind of other substance. So say we're out of blue, but if I sold some orange, I would actually create blue 1-for-1, an equal amount of what I just sold. So I rolled a 3, so we're going to put 3 pinks there. Pink is hollow. Orange is going to be spice, so I'm going to roll for that. I get 2 spice on the economy board. We're going to roll for plasma now. I get 2 of those, so not a ton of anything so far. I'm going to roll for purple. I get 5 purples. Purple is cyber, as I said earlier, and green is going to be terror, so let me roll for that. Terror gets 2, so I need 2 more purples. And now our economy board is set. I'm going to take these leftover cubes and just put them over here. Now we're going to take these ships. The blue ships are tier 1 ships. The green ships are tier 2 ships, and the purple ships are tier 3 ships. You can always upgrade from a tier blue ship to a tier green ship, and you can upgrade from a tier green ship to a tier purple ship. You just have to pay the necessary cost. The necessary cost for a green ship would be 5, and the necessary cost for a purple ship would be 8. You cannot go from a tier blue ship to a tier purple ship. I'm just going to randomize what ship I get, which definitely is going to add to the chance that I just get walloped here today, but it's just the way I've been engaging with this game that I find the most fun and most exploratory. So I'm going to roll a D8. I'll use the one that comes with the game, and I rolled a 3. So we're going to get the numerator. All right, numerator. Now I'm going to look at my handy dandy cards down here, and we're going to look at the 2 powers that come with the numerator. Whatever power I take, I can keep for the rest of the game. That includes even when I upgrade. So basically my tier 2 ship, I'll have a new power I'll get with it, plus I'll be able to keep whatever power I keep now. So my first choice of powers is Afterburner. Burn bright, fly fast. Immediately after an engine roll, I can spend 1 energy and roll a d20. If I roll an 11 through a 19, I get +5 to the roll. If I roll a 20, I get +8 to the roll, or double the engine roll. If I roll a 5 through a 10, +3 to the roll, and 1 to 4, nothing happens. The burner fails to ignite. And yes, I did not do that in any really smart, intelligent order. But you understood what I was saying. This ability only applies to the 1 die roll for that engine. After I use this, I place this card face down, and then it'll be refreshed in the status phase. So that's a once per round thing. Can be very handy. The LR scan, long range scanning array numerator. When you collect an exploration token, I may pay 5 energy to double the result. So I can get 2 cargo instead of 1, +10 movement instead of +5, 2 missions instead of 1. But again, that's only good if you have other things that allow you to have multiple missions. It could be useful. I'm not totally sure I love that one. It does take 5 energy. We only start with 9. As an action, only if there are no exploration tokens on the board, I can pay 5 energy to place a random exploration token on a previously collected space at least 3 sectors away. Reshuffle, use exploration tokens if needed. That's not great. I will go ahead and take some Afterburner, give me a little bit more consistency with rolls, and give me more chances to roll a d20. And we'll see why that's important as we play, hopefully. I'm going to put the Impulse token down here. Impulse is a once a turn thing where I just flip this and I get 4 movement. It doesn't require any energy. It also doesn't require me to spend any of my armed markers. What does that mean? That'll make sense in a little bit. Additionally, now that I have my numerator as my starting ship, I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to get 4,000 credits. And I can use that 4,000 credits to what? To pay for outfits to get my ship started and make it a little bit more viable for me to do things in space. Here's my numerator. I'm going to put this around it to indicate that I am the yellow player. And I can put this on any spawn point I want. I want to put it there on spawn point 18. Here's my 4,000 credit, and now I have to decide how I want to spend it. This, by the way, is going to go here to track my energy as it goes from 9 and down. I'm really interested in maybe doing some sifting and getting one of these tokens, but for that, I'm going to need a little bit of space to make that work. So what I'm going to grab is a cargo hold. A cargo hold is going to allow me to place some relics. Now, most of the time when you get outfits, they have to fit on your spaces. However, the cargo holds come with the expansion. They are just like armor plating, where only that green tag needs to be placed on the ship. The rest of it can kind of hang off on the side, because I basically just built a little bit extra storage space on my ship because that was smart of me. So that's going to cost me 1,000. I'm going to need an engine, and I also want to make my die rolls for my engine a little bit more consistent. So what I'm going to get is an engine, and then I'm going to get an upgrade to the engine, which is called a GTS. So I'm going to put the engine here, and I'm going to put the GTS here. Now, since the GTS is joining that engine, whenever I do an engine roll, I'm going to get a +2 to that roll up to the maximum value of that engine. What's the maximum value of this engine? Well, it's only a 6. This is the lowest level engine you can get in the game. So how is that going to work? If I want to move, I'd have to take one of my armed markers, put it on one of the engine spaces. Only the yellowish orange spaces are going to be viable for this. I would roll a d6. Now, since I have a GTS next to it, I can add 2 to that 3. So then I have a roll of a 5, and then I can spend an energy to do my little afterburner ability, which is very nice. I have one more 1,000 credits to spend. What am I going to get? Well, I'm going to go ahead and get myself some shield, because shieldings could be really useful. So I have a basic target shield here that also cost me 1,000. So this cargo pod cost me 1,000, this engine cost me 1,000, the GTS cost me 1,000, and the target should cost me 1,000. In the business phase, as long as I have no damage on an outfit, I could always sell it, and I could set half of a cost rounded up to the nearest 1,000. So I could actually sell all of these for exactly what I paid for them, which is very, very nice. And that's it. We are ready to play the game. I am the starting player. Let's see how I want to work this first turn. I can fly over these relics. I cannot land on them, but I could definitely fly over that to get to the excavate space, which is probably something I want to do. I also want to get an exploration token. I'm wondering if there's an easy way for me to get 2 exploration tokens. I think that might be a little hard. So we'll see. I'm going to flip this over because it's going to have a lot of information that'll be useful for gameplay. I'm going to spend this marker to power my engine. So I'm going to roll a d6. I rolled a 1. GTS makes it a 3. Immediately after that roll, I'm going to spend 1 energy to roll the d20. And I rolled a 19. Ooh, almost a 20. So now I have movement of an 8 total. 1 plus 2 plus 5. And then I'm going to actually turn this over because I use that ability. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and then I'm entering into an ice asteroid. Now, when I enter into an ice asteroid, I have to roll to see if I take any ice damage. So I need to roll a d20. I rolled a 2. Ooh, I'm going to take 2 ice damages. I rolled between a 1 and a 10. However, let me try to prevent that. I'm going to use this target shield, and I'm going to roll to try to prevent some of that ice damage. I rolled a 3. Great. Since I rolled higher than a 2, I negated all ice damage. I do not have to worry about that at all. While I'm there, as a minor action, so I still have my movement points left, I'm going to take this exploration token. I get plus 5 to my movement. Woo! So now I have a total of 10 movement left. I do want to excavate, but I have so much movement, I'm going to try to gamble a little bit. So I'm going to go 9 left, 8 left, 7 left, 6 left. I have to roll a d6 as I'm entering that. I roll 2. So that's part of my movement. That's just like a minor thing. So I still have 6 more movement. 5 left, minor action. I pick this up. I get another 5 movement, which is absolutely bananas. So I have 10 movement left. I'm going to discard both of them and get 2,000 in credits. This does not go here. This is only for bounties. So this is in my supply. This is for bounties. If you put this there, all of a sudden, the enforcer thinks you're a bad dude and wants to shoot you down. So with my 10 more movement, I have some things to consider. I'm going to go here. I have to roll again because now I'm on this gravity rift. Yoink. I rolled a 3, 1, 2. I just go off the end. So I have 9 more movement. So I could blind jump, and I'm going to do that. There's 2 ways to expand the galaxy. One is you can scan. If I scan, scanning is not a minor action, so it actually costs me any leftover movement I have. So I'm just going to say I'm jumping into that hex right there. So I want to find the top thing of this, and I want to connect it by the semicircle and see what I jump into. Uh-oh, this could be a problem. So I jump into here. This comes on the board. We have another explore token. And notice this is a quarry spot. Quarry spots are nice because that's where we can find ember, which we can sell at the kiln, and we make 2,000 per. Normally when you sell stuff, you only get 1,000 per. So this is a nice little upgrade. But this comet comes here, and this comet might have other ideas. It might knock me out of the sky. I rolled a 2. Comet only goes there. Had I rolled a 5, I'd be super dead. So I have 8 more movement left. I have 7 movement left. I'm going to jump into here. When I get there, I'm going to have 6 more movement left. I'm going to link up the arrows. Where is the arrow? I guessed right. That's super helpful. So now I'm here, and now we have Kemplar 2. So since Kemplar 2 is on the board, a couple of things are going to happen. One, we put this exploration token there. There's a place where I can buy orange cubes and sell pink cubes. And then the enforcer is going to spawn on a spot adjacent to the spawn point on that tile. The enforcer is going to come in and we're going to give him a behavior. There are 2 cards for behavior. I'm going to roll to see which card we're picking from, and this is all random. So I rolled a 2, so we're going from that card, and then we're going to roll to see what behavior the enforcer is going to have. He's going to be a big game hunter, an enforcer that wants big kills. He will target an outlaw only if that outlaw is tier 2 or more in ship. The scoundrel, that is the outlaw NPC, is only a tier 1. So the big game hunter might not have any targets for a while. So I'll flip him over, but really all that matters for the enforcer is going to be these instructions here. When he comes into play, we can put him to the right of us wherever we want, and all the NPCs will now act in order. Note, the sellsword will not start acting unless I go hire him, which I may or may not. I still haven't decided yet. But additionally, something else interesting happens here. This is now the second planet that is on the merchant's little trade route here. So the merchant is a cargo hauler and flies trade route. Place the merchant on the second planet in the trade route to be discovered. Well, the first one to be discovered was Lunari. That came up in setup, and now the second one is going to be Kemplar 2. So we're going to put the merchant in play, and we have to also figure out a little path for them. So we're going to take the behavior cards. I'm going to roll a die. I rolled a 2, so it's going to be either collector or the usual suspect, and I rolled a 5, so we'll use the bottom half of that, the usual suspect. Its target space is the spell space on the next trade route planet. There are only 2 trade route planets on the board. The cell space is going to be the one in Lunari. As a reminder to me to where the merchant is heading, I like to put a little stone there. And that is set immediately. Even if one of these other planets comes out that would have priority in the trade route, that is a target for the merchant. When the merchant gets there, he's going to add to the NPC's roll. So this is actually a pretty good set of behaviors. Some of these behaviors make this game really hard, but these 2 behaviors I don't mind at all. Whew, so I have 6 more movement, which is insane. I don't know if it makes sense to keep pushing my luck, trying to do these blind jumps. Blind jumps are inherently dangerous. I got fairly lucky both times. So let me just go back here. 1, 2. Now I'm going to do a minor action. I'm going to draw 3 missions. The background of the mission will tell us whether it's like an outlaw-ish mission or whether it's going to be a lawful mission. So the outlaws mission is coerce. So we have to strike fear in their hearts. We'd have to target the player on our right, and then we would have to do damage to them. And if we do, then we have to go to the sector of Tig, and we would have to deliver in that space. And then once we finish the mission, we would get a fame point. Well, Tig's not on the board yet. I really don't want to target the enforcer, who is the player to my right. If I attack the enforcer or the merchant, I'm going to get a bounty immediately, and then I become a bad dude. And again, the enforcer is going to try to blow me out of the sky. The lawful missions we have here are research, scan for scientific data. A bone-thin lab technician appears on your comm. I want you to find a specific nebular gas that exhibits some interesting properties. All this talk about gas reminds you of dinner last night. Of course it does. So we have to fly to the mission point in the Burning Horse. The Burning Horse is not on the board yet. If we were able to do that, then we can go to the planet of Neo Damascus, and we would be able to deliver some data, and we would get, again, some credits and a fame point. Assist, Starside Travel Assistance. You're idly wondering what that fortune cookie meant when you get the call, Captain, my ship's in real bad shape, and I require assistance. It's your time to shine. We can fly to a mission point in any anomaly. This mission point would make us an outlaw. There's a mission point in the Farron's Call anomaly, so I like that. We can gear up by placing X number of 1,000 coins on this card, 1, 2, or 3, and the target player on your left. As an action, when adjacent to the target, you can spend X energy. Target may choose to heal 1 damage, gain X energy, or move up to 2 times spaces. Then you gain all the money on this card. The player on the left, which will probably be the scoundrel, because if we're going around in this order, and the scoundrel would need to have damage on it, and then I would basically need to heal it. But that is the most reasonable thing for me to do out of all my other options here. So I will hold on to the assist, but we're not going to go too crazy prioritizing that. I'm going to end my movement in excavate. I still have more movement points, but I want to be an excavate. Oh, and I messed up because I put 4 of these relics here instead of 3. So I'm going to take the bottom one off and put it on the top of this relic stack here. And now I'm going to try to excavate. I still have 2 more armed markers, but we know that excavation can be dangerous because I could take a serious amount of ice damage. And if I do that, that's going to be super problematic. Let's see how this works. I'm going to take a D20 and I'm trying to excavate a relic. I rolled a 6, not the roll of dreams. So I'm going to use my last shield and hope I get a little bit lucky here. Give me a big number. I rolled a 5. So I take 1 ice damage, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on this spot here. So one thing with the cargo hold, the only place that I can put a damage on is going to be the tip. And if I do that, anything in the cargo pod itself will fall away. If I put this damage on either my engine outfit or my shield outfit, what happens is my future rolls for that outfit would be reduced by the number of pieces of damage on it. But ice damage is a particularly nasty sort of damage, but I'm going to stay here and give myself a chance to excavate a relic there next turn. I have this impulse, which I just did not use. I'm not ready to leave there yet. I'm going to dogmatically try to get one of those relics and then get to the kiln next turn. So that is the end of my first turn. Just a little bit of bad luck with that D20, trying to get a relic there. So at the end of my turn, we go to the business phase, but the business phase only really happens if I'm on a planet, which clearly I'm not. You could also do a business phase if I was in the kiln, which I am also not. So I'm going to have to expand this ice damage, unfortunately. That gives me a second piece of ice damage, which means I can only get 1 relic now on my ship. I can't fit 2. How'd I put this ice damage here? You know what? Let me take both of these damage on my engine, because I can actually use impulse to get to the kiln. So I'm going to actually just hinder my engine, and that will give me an outside chance of getting 2 relics. But the math of that's going to be a little bit dangerous. So I'll have to figure out how I roll next turn. So the first thing I did is freeze. I didn't finish this survivor title, so I'm not going to get that. I didn't get any fame, so nothing happens over here. I'm going to refresh my afterburner card, and then I'm going to arm my markers. I have 3 markers that I use to rearm all of them. I'm going to spend 1 energy for each. So that's going to get me down to 5 energy on my board. If I were ever to be out of energy and had no markers and no engines, then I would be fully stranded, which could be a problem. I'd basically only be able to do an impulse from then on out. So now that I've finished this first turn, let me talk about how you get fame. You can choose to get fame when you discard 2 exploration tokens. Again, I discarded 2 exploration tokens to get 2,000 credits. You can get fame when you complete a mission. You can get fame when you destroy another ship, depending on the ship tier. You can get fame when you sell all the cubes in your hold of 1 type, minimum 2. That's 1 fame. You can get fame when you purchase a new ship for 1,000. You get fame by spending 5,000 to buy it. You can get fame when you give energy to a stranded player. That won't actually happen in this game. You can get fame from title cards. You can get fame when you roll a natural 20. You can get fame from some event cards, and then you can get fame when you sift a relic, or again, you could take the benefit instead of the fame. We'll see what I want to do when hopefully I have a chance to do that next turn. Now we're going to expand the universe. So I'm going to put this tile, and I'm going to put it over here. It is loath, and I'll go with the T. So T to T, that matches up. And now we have the scoundrel in play, and the scoundrel is going to go on that spawn point. And now we have to pick a behavior for him. And I'm going to put him to the right of the merchant. We're going to look at these 2 cards. We're going to roll, see which one we're using. I rolled a 5. So we're either going to be bully or opportunist. And we get 1. So it's a bully. So he is targeting the player if the player is tier 1 or tier 2. That's not a great behavior. I would rather the scoundrel not try to kill me, but we will see how that plays out. We're now going to carry out the NPC turns. The NPC behavior is going to be different than what's on their cards. The NPC stat card has a side A and a side B. If you're playing on hard mode, you would play on side B. If you're playing the normal game, you're on side A until the NPCs score half of the victory point total. So once they get to 10, I'm going to put a reminder there, and then they'll go to side B. Side B is nasty. So we're going to look at the behavior for the enforcer. The enforcer is trying to target an outlaw if it's tier 2 or more. So he has no target. The enforcer is just going to chill. The merchant is going to do their thing. The merchant has a movement of 9. Where are they moving? Well, they're going toward that space. The NPCs do not trigger anomalies, but they will avoid asteroid fields. They can't go through empty space. They can't explore. So we're just moving 9 to go there. They normally will also avoid planetary shields unless that is the only way they can get to where they need to go. And yes, they would be taking damage if they did that. So this NPC is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It's not at its target, so we don't have to worry about the +2 to the NPC roll. That will make sense in a little bit. I'm going to put this thing here to indicate what planet we're going to. We're going to Lunari, and now the scoundrel is going to go. So the scoundrel is going to move 6. It's also going to try to avoid planetary shields. Its move of 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It is not in range. The scoundrel only attacks with blasters, so to attack me, it has to be adjacent. The enforcer actually attacks with missiles. To attack me, it has to be within 2 to 6 spaces. Very complicated. Now, at the end of the round, the NPCs are going to do their fame roll. If I dropped any cargo cubes on the board during this round, they would get +2 to their roll for that. If they collected any credits by killing me and taking my bounty, they would get extra to their roll for that. Or if the merchant got to its sell space, they would get +2 for that. So they have no bonuses to this roll. So they're rolling a d20. I rolled them a 14. Of course I did. So 4 to 14, they get 1 fame, which means that we get to our first pink spot, which means we get our first event. The event is wormholes. The system is porous like garner cheese. While this card is in play, all spawn points are now connected to each other and provide special movement similar to gates. Whenever someone uses the spawn points for special movement, roll a d20. On a 1, the wormhole collapses and the ship using the wormhole is destroyed. This card remains in play until the wormhole collapses. That's not great. That's going to make it a lot easier for the merchant to get around, and I don't like it. All right, so that is the end of round 1. We go to round 2. The excitement never ends. I am going to try to get a relic. I rolled a 5. I'm going to try to shield some of that ice damage. I rolled a 2. That's not good. So I'm going to take 3 more ice damage. So I'm going to just fill up my engine, and so much for getting 2 relics. I'll be able to heal this once I get to the kiln. So I'm going to try one more time. Let me get a relic. I rolled a 10. I'm going to use this marker. I'm going to try to shield some of that. I rolled a 3. I take 7 damage, which blows up my ship. My ship is blown up, kids, because I cannot do anything about that. So that was really unfortunate. And this is the point of the game where I'm like, yep, this game is just not for me, kids. So what happens? I'm immediately removed from the game and placed on the ship owner's mat. Yoink. Here I am. All active missions are discarded. All cargo cubes are dropped. So this assist mission is out. I hold on to my credits at least. If I had a bounty, I would lose it. But then my markers are refreshed to armed. My energy is reset to here. And just basically all the damage goes away. In the original rules, you would have to miss a turn if you're more than tier 1. Now you just spawn immediately at the beginning of your next turn. And you spawn with 1 damage per tier that you are. So I'll just put a damage on me now. I'll put it there. So that just ends my turn immediately. There's no other effects I could do, but the universe will expand. When you're expanding, you have to go to the thing that is adjacent to the most tiles. Oh, shoot. Speaking of which, this should not have come over here. This should have gone over there. I would have done the T again, because that had 4 tiles. The scoundrel goes here. We're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's how that universe should have worked. And now I have to put the next tile either here or here, because those are the only places that have 3 tiles adjacent. I will put this one over here or do the T. This is Azor. It's another planet on the merchant's trade route parade. And that has a spawn point. We do need to put exploration tokens here and an exploration token over here. Now the enforcer does not have a target, doesn't move. The merchant's still trying to get there, so it's moving 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So close, but not on the cell space. And then the scoundrel doesn't have a target either, because it's only targeting the player, and the player is not on the board right now. I realized I messed up the merchant's movement last turn. Yeah, the merchant would have moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because it can't end in the same space as the scoundrel. And now it's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it actually does get to the cell space. So +2 to the NPC roll this turn. The next target is going to be Azor, which can be very easy for them to get there because now we have all the wormholes and the spawn points are nice and close to each other, which is, again, going to be really rough for us. So we're adding +2 to this roll. I rolled an 11. +2 is 13. We get 1 more fame for the NPCs. We go to my turn. I have the 1 damage. I'm respawning. Where am I respawning? Well, I'm going to roll a d20, and I rolled a 4. So there's a spawn point 5 over here, spawn point 3 over here. Ugh, it's really not great. Since they're both 1 away from 4, you go to the higher one, so I have to start there. I'm going to scan, so I'm going to spend an energy. We're going to put out a new tile. We're matching up the circles. There's going to be an exploration token there. I can try to salvage some cyber. Chances of salvaging are pretty high. It's 4 to 20, but if you roll a 1, 2, or 3, you're dead. Not great. But the other thing is I don't really have a good place to sell any cyber here. I'm going to fire up my engine. I'm going to roll a d6. That's 2 + 2, so I'm moving 4. I'm going to use the d20 with the numerator ability. I rolled a 9. I'm rolling great, guys. So I have a total movement of 7. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm coming into here. Again, I'm going into a debris field. If I roll a 1, 2, or 3, I am toast. My ghost. Don't roll a 1, 2, or 3. I rolled a 3. Wow. And scene. That's great. So damage goes away. I'm going to respawn on my next turn. Fantastic. My turn's over. We're going to expand the universe and we'll match up the triangles. We have Neo Damascus, another thing on the merchant's little display here. We're going to do the enforcer. The enforcer doesn't have a target. The merchant's moving 9. The merchant's trying to get there. It can get there through that spawn point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We roll. If it's a 1, the merchant ship's destroyed. Merchant ship is not destroyed. We roll a 19. At least I roll high for somebody. 7, 8, 9. The scoundrel doesn't have a target. We do a fame roll. No addition to the roll. That's a 9. 9's going to give them 1 fame. We get another title card out here. Most wanted, when they come for you. To claim this title, be the first player to have a bounty of 5,000 or higher. Once per game during the business phase, you may repair your ship for free. That could be useful, and it might be something worth going for at this point. My turn, I start with this 1 damage on me. I'm going to roll. I spawn by spawn point 12. So we have 5, 2, 17, 1, 6, 18, and 3. Closest to 12 is going to be 6 or 17. It's actually going to be 17, which is nuts. This came back marked. That goes there. This would have refreshed. Awesome. So let's do it again. What can go wrong? So I'm going to use one of my engine markers. This would also get an exploration token. I'm going to roll. That's a 1 plus 2 is a 3. I'm going to roll this. That's a 4. Nothing happened. So I have a total movement of 3. Awesome. 1, 2, 3. I'm rolling the D20. I rolled a 17. I don't blow up. I get the exploration token. I get to refill my energy, which should have been down to 8 because I used this ability and now it's back to 9. I'm going to use 1 energy to explore and I'm going to match up the lines. We have the burning horse in play. Remember, if I become stranded in a nebula and then get back to full energy in a planet, I get a victory point from that. That could be a good idea for something useful for me to do right now because I'm a little bit struggling. So I'm going to use this engine to go into this nebula. I'm rolling a die. I rolled a 1. It becomes a 3. You can't make this stuff up, kids. I'm going to try to enter into the burning horse. Now that I want crappy rolls, watch me. I'm going to start rolling amazing. Nebulas are shown by the pink. Every time you go in, you have to roll a d20. Unlike when you take damage, like I was taking over here with ice damage, here you would just actually lose energy. If you run out of energy to lose, you'd have to spend your markers and then you could become stranded. But I still have my 4 impulse. And with my 4 impulse, I can go 1, 2, 3 into that planet. That's a neutral planet. So I'd be able to get in there even if I was an outlaw. So I'm rolling this d20. I rolled a 13. So no harm, no foul. I'm going to exit and then re-enter, which means I have to make another roll. And I rolled a 10. So I lose 10 energy. I actually need to block a little bit of that. So I'm going to use my shield up here. I blocked 2 of that. So I lose 8 energy. And now I'm down to 0 energy. But I still have this 1 marker. I'm going to now use this last engine and hopefully get a big enough roll that I can get there and get back there. So let me get something higher than a 3, a 4. So I have a total of 6 because of the GTS. So I go 1, 2, I get this. It is ice damage. Ice damage will go there. Get rid of both of those to get 2,000 credits. And then I'm going to go back to this point. And now I have no more markers. I have no more energy. I am officially stranded. Wait, so I was here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to exhaust this and I'm going to move for 1, 2, 3, 4. And now during the business phase, as I'm on a planet, a couple things are going to happen. And this all happens before we get to the status phase. So the ice hasn't grown yet. So in the business phase, you can do a couple of things. I can recharge my energy, buy outfits, sell outfits, rearrange, hold, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to recharge my energy and then I'm going to sell this GTS to get another 1,000. So now I'm at 5,000 and now I'm going to buy a new ship. I mean, I could have spent 1,000 to repair, but it just seemed not the most efficient way to go. And I'm just going to go ahead and just sell these 3. So now I have 3,000 left to spend on new outfits for my better ship. When you buy a new ship, I get a fame point, which is nice. I'm also going to get rid of all damage. So notice, since the NPCs had already gone over the pink, I don't pull another event. The 1 event or 1 title is triggered the first time someone gets there. And again, I'm putting all these outfits back, and I know I have 3,000 more to spend. So the numerator is going to come off the board, and I'm going to roll to see what my new green ship is going to be. Again, there are 7 of them here. I'm rolling a D8. I roll 1. Bitter karma. Well, I'm bitter about a few things already this game. So this is obviously a bigger ship. I might try to see if I can't make this bitter karma into something that can blow up this scoundrel pretty easy. Just get fame from that. So we're going to look at the cards for bitter karma. There are 2. The one is Dimension 10. Dimension 10 says Infinite Possibility Machine, Bitter Karma. When your ship respawns, you start with 0 damage and choose your spawn point. Ooh, that's nice. At the end of your turn, you may self-destruct your ship, respawn immediately, and continue with your turn normal. It's freaking great. You cannot collect cargo cubes during the same turn as you jettison them, so that's important to note. So if I voluntarily blow myself up, I would need to jettison any cargo cubes I had on me, which means they go on my space. Cargo cubes there are removed at the end of the turn in the solo game, and they add to the NPC's roll. So that's something you want to be aware of. If I had cargo cubes, I'd be very unlikely to just blow myself up, even though it would mean I can go anywhere I want in the galaxy. We now go to the other thing here is the Emp Burst. The Emp Burst, knock out enemy ship systems, target all adjacent ships to which you have line of sight. As an action, spend 2 energy and roll. This is really bad because these NPCs can still try to block that. So I'm just going to take Dimension 10 and see if I can't use that extra maneuverability to my advantage. And the nice thing is when I respawn, again, unlike normally when I would come in with 2 damage, because of this ability, I would actually come in with 0. This would go on my impulse. Impulse is only 2. I have 3,000 to spend on some outfits. I'm going to look so pretty. Here's my bitter karma. I could have just moved him there as a minor action. Let me look at new events. I should have done this on my turn. Sorry about that. That's a bounty hunter. Track down and destroy criminals. You can catch all bands transmission from Lunari Space Police. We're willing to pay any able ship to help us keep the crime level to a minimum, and will authorize the use of force. Find and destroy any outlaw ship. We pick up the remains and I can bring it to Lunari. Yes, that is a beautiful idea. I was already considering blowing that dude up anyway, so that would have been the obvious thing for me to pick up. And we have Assassin or Count of It. Again, I don't really want to go outlaw level, especially since I'm tier 2. And if I become an outlaw, then all of a sudden I'll have the Enforcer trying to chase me down. So I'm spending this 3,000 to get an upgraded blaster and a little target shield here. So I have no engine. Oh, by the way, the Scoundrel always have a bounty on them. It's part of what makes them an outlaw ship. The Scoundrel, when he spawned, would come in with 2,000 on him. So if I defeat them, I get that 2,000. It's a neutral planet, so the outlaw can come in. Outlaws, if it was a lawful planet, he wouldn't be able to enter. He'd have to try to sneak in. He is definitely attacking me this turn. Remember, even if it gives me damage, though, I can respawn. Choose my starting point. Yeah, I'm not going to bother with any shields. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to get this blaster and an engine. And we'll put this like so. And now that's the end of my turn. During the status phase, I can claim this title of survivor. And that means I get 1 fame for that. And I can now go through nebulas without having to make any rolls anymore, which can be very, very helpful. The universe is going to expand. We're going to put a tile up there. We're going to match the T's. And now we have our first gate. So gates are connected to each other. The first player to use them gets a fame. And yes, the NPCs can abs themselves, but we do not have another gate on the board for them to do so. The gates are 3 spaces, and you can go from any one space in a gate to any one space of the gate that you're traveling to. So between the wormholes and the gates, there'll be lots of jumping around the board here. The Enforcer is going to go, the Enforcer still does not have a target. The Merchant is going to go to this little cell space. So now we have +2. The next cell space is going to be over here in Kemplar 2. The Scoundrel is going to go after me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It is attacking me with a D12. Yoink. It does 1 damage. It's so great. I'll take my 1 damage, yoink, and put it at the very tip of my bitter karma, and hopefully we can take care of business now. The NPCs are going to roll. They get +2 to their roll because of the merchant ship reaching its destination this turn. I rolled it a 3. A 3 becomes a 5, so 1 point, and we have another event. Derelict Hulk. A ghost ship appears through the mists. While this card is in play, take a random unpurchased available tier 3 ship and spawn it. So we have 7 tier 3 ships. I'm going to roll this die. I rolled an 8. I think there's only 7 of them. Yeah, there's only 7. So I need to roll that again. I rolled a 1. The Carriac. The Carriac is this beautiful ship right here. And we're going to spawn it randomly. So we have to roll a D20 to see where it's going to spawn. It spawns on 7. That's 18 to 5 is close. 6 is close. 6 is the winner. I do not see 8 or 7 anywhere on the board. So this is going to be here. So that's going to be chilling there. Now what happens? When you take a move action, for each space you move, you may also move the Hulk ship as long as the Hulk ship is adjacent to your ship. Moving the Hulk costs you 1 movement per space. So you're basically moving at halftime. If you tow the Hulk into the kiln, immediately end your turn and purchase it for free, regardless of your current ship. And this card leaves play when it's been purchased. Now, it's nice. I wouldn't mind having the Hulk. The problem with that is I want to get the fame for when I do upgrade eventually, but I would be able to get some of the benefits of the Hulk. So I'm actually going to look at what the Carryax cards are. They have absorption shields. They can spend 4 energy to heal a damage as an action, or when they activate 1 or more shields, they roll an extra die, then remove the lowest die. Yeah, not really feeling like that's going to be worth it. That's going to be a really hefty tow from there all the way to the kiln, especially since I have not moved the kiln at all. My turn. I'm going to try to blow the scoundrel out of the sky. So I'm going to actually fire off both of my blasters here. The benefit of doing that is the scoundrel only has 1 shield. It's going to roll 1d6. So hopefully I roll high enough with my 2 d8s to overcome their d6 and be able to bring an end to this reign of terror that the scoundrel is. So I'm rolling a d8 2 times. Make it big. A 6. A 6 is a good start. I need another 6. Asking you shall receive. All right. So now the scoundrel is doing what? The scoundrel's blocking with a d6. It rolls a 3. So 6 plus 6 minus 3 is I did 9 damage to the scoundrel. Oh, it's 10 damage to kill it. Am I out of luck? Oh, we got a chance. It's a little dirty, but I think we're going to try to pull it off. So I could go crazy to try to show 9 damage on the scoundrel, but I'm just going to put a die here with a number 9 and save us all some time. I am now going to ram this sucker. You heard me right. I'm going to use my engine and I'm going to roll a d6. Now this is unblockable damage to me no matter what I roll, and the scoundrel will still always roll their d6 to try to block it. So I basically just want to get a higher roll than the scoundrel 1 out of 2 times, do 1 more damage to the scoundrel to defeat it, get a fame, get 2,000 more money, get another outfit. So many good things would come out of this if I can pull this off. So I'm rolling a d6. I rolled a 2. The scoundrel needs to roll a 1. It rolls a 5, so it blocks it. I take 2 damage. And again, we're going to use my last engine. I'm rolling. I rolled a 2. I rolled a 1. So great. 1 more damage. Scoundrel is super dead. I get 1 fame for defeating the scoundrel. I get the 2,000, which was the bounty on the scoundrel. And now the scoundrel comes and sits over here and thinks about what's done. I take 2 more damage though, because I did ram the scoundrel another time. I'm going to obviously use this self-destruct ability again next turn. That's pretty sick. I don't have much else I can do. Ooh, this could be interesting. Great. I'm going to use my impulse to move 2. Now I also had this bounty hunter. So I destroyed an outlaw ship. I need to roll a d20 after I did that. Oh, I rolled a 19. So it's alive and unharmed. So I now have the remains of that ship. This is all abstracted. All these events are super, super abstracted. So I have the remains of the ship. So I get 5,000 money that I put on this card. And when I deliver this to the Explorer space in Lunari, I'll get that money plus the 1 fame points. That could be really, really strong. The question is, can I get to Lunari next turn? Maybe I don't blow up. Depends on where the scoundrel respawns. Obviously, he spawns close to me. I'm in trouble. I have no shields. I'm just trying to be smart about this. You know what? I don't want to risk him defeating me. If you get destroyed, you lose your active mission. I don't want to lose that mission. So I'm going to spend 1,000. And when you spend 1,000, I can get 2 plasma cubes. These come from the board. Note, since there's no more plasma cubes on the board, if I ever sell orange to create blue, then you would actually get 1,000 there. And that would have been put there during the status phase. So that's where the economy board comes into place. I could not buy any more blue cubes until I basically sell orange cubes somewhere else. Go to Kempler, I could buy orange cubes there and go back to Neo Damascus and sell the orange cubes there. And now we go to the status phase. I'm just going to spend this 1,000 to clear off all of this damage. I refresh my energy, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to spend 1 energy per marker to put them back in armed. And then my impulse is going to flip back to 2. I'm just trying to give myself some cushion in case the scoundrel comes and attacks me. he would need to roll really good to knock me out because I have so much extra space on the bigger ship. So that is the end of my turn. The universe is going to expand. There is nothing that's going to be adjacent to 3 sectors. I'm going to try to expand it this way a lot because of space reasons, and I want to come over there. There's so many exploration tokens I want to get. So I'm going to put a new tile there. I'm going to match up the T's. Oh, we have Zia itself. Thank God I did not blind jump into that. That's a nasty, nasty thing to do. And now we have the NPC actions. The Enforcer has no target. The Merchant is trying to come here. It once again will use the spawn point. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We roll a die, not a 1, 8, 9. Now we do the Scoundrel. The Scoundrel has to respawn. Since it respawns, though, it starts with 1 damage on it. Where is it going to spawn? I rolled a 6. So that's its spawn point. Since the spawn point 6 is occupied, it is going to come to 5, which is really unfortunate. So it comes here. It has another 2,000 bounty on it. And now it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's attacking me with a D12. Below, please. 6. I take 6 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll put this on the blaster. I'm definitely not attacking. Too much to risk to attack the Scoundrel now. So I'm not going to be doing that. But now we're rolling for their end of turn roll. This is the 5th round. They've only got 1 every time. So that's good. What are we going to roll here? It's a 14, nothing additional. So again, that is just 1 point for the NPCs. 15 or higher gives them 2 points. So we've been a little lucky there. NPC gets up to 5. My turn. I want to get to Lenari. So I'm going to use this engine. Remember, I don't have the GTS. I get what I get on this roll. I get a 4. So that's not bad. I'm going to spend 1 energy though to roll a D20. It gives me 16, another 5 to my roll. So I have 9 movement, which is great. I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can get a Captain in Need exploration token. I don't want to do that because I'd have to throw away the bounty hunter token, and that's just not a good idea. And that's 9. I'm going to roll for this engine again. Please don't give me 1s and 2s. A 5 is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And while I am there, I am going to now spend an action to turn in the bounty hunter. So this is going to stay in front of me face down. It's no longer active, so I can get another active mission. I delivered these remains to the explorer point in Lunari. I get this 5,000 in Moolah. And I'm going to get a fame point. I'm now going to use my impulse to move 2 to pick this up. That's going to give me another plasma, which is unfortunate because I have no place to put it. No, that's so bad. Because I have no place to put it, it's just going to go here on that spot, and that will add 2 to the result. Let me use another engine. I'm going to roll. It doesn't matter what I roll because I have to stop here to do what I want to do. And now on that space, oh, I got these 2 things. Now, I'm at a point where I could consider starting to use these for fame, but the problem with using these for fame is that if you're ever ahead of the NPCs, they get +2 to their roll for each point that you are ahead of them. So I'm going to use these for money again. I'm going to sell these 2 cubes to get 1,000 each. And when I sold blue, I create purple up to the limit of 6. Since I sold 2, I get another 2,000. And we're going to get a victory point for selling 2 cubes of the same type. So somehow we are tied with the NPCs. It's a miracle. In the business phase, I claimed my fame as I went. I'm going to actually spend 8,000 to buy a tier 3 ship. That's going to be 1,000 and change. I'm not going to sell this outfit because I have to sell it at a discount, but I will sell this engine. So I'll have 2,000 and change. Again, the engine is a $1,000 piece of equipment. So divided by 2, rounded up. The blaster, I would have to sell it for 1,000 less than I paid for it. So I had 9,000. I spent 8 and I sold 1. So that gives me 10. So that leaves me with the 2 that I have here. All this damage goes away. The new ship's going to come in with the markers reset. I'm going to get a point for buying a new ship. And that's going to allow me to pull another title. Destroyer, power, overwhelming. To claim this title, be the first player to destroy 2 enemy ships in 1 turn. That's really hard to do against the NPCs. Like, you just don't have the activations or the blasters. But if you did it, you get 3 fame, which would be really sick. I'm going to look at the tier 3 ships. There are only 6 of them left, so I'm going to roll randomly. Remember, the Carriac is on the board. And now we get the long haul. I will read the long haul because this is what we're going to spend the rest of the game with. The backstory. If a man's home is his castle, this ship is your metropolis. It's a truly vast hulk of metal and machine. On your first voyage, you ram through a few small asteroids for fun. Looking back, you can truly see how far you've come from where you started. The ship is more than a vehicle, it's a milestone. However, the food replicator seems to be a bit off. Everything tastes oddly of tuna fish. As a result, you lose 10 pounds and get a pet cat. His name is Mr. Tubby, and you hope he's good luck, naturally. So this is going to go over there. Some of the flavor text is bananas. Bit of karma's out, served us well. We're going to look at the new skills and see what kind of beautiful ship we have put together here today. So this is Shuttle Bay and Live Stream. Shuttle Bay is deploy a ship to do your bidding. Long haul shuttle. Place the original tier 1 miniature on this card. As an action, spend 3 energy and use this ability twice in a row. Move your shuttle up to 4 spaces from your ship, then perform one of these actions. Attack with a D6 blaster, sell, buy, or collect cargo cubes. You can long hold. Mission, draw, objective complete. Shuttle must be then placed back on this card. Oh, interesting. Actions taken can earn you fame, points, or claim bounty, but they cannot incur a bounty. Shuttle cannot be targeted, attacked, or take damage. It is considered innocent for planetary entrances. Shuttle must avoid asteroid, ice, debris, planetary shields, and stars. You cannot use gates, and nebulae paths have no effect. Wow. Otherwise, we have live stream. Your fan base cheers you on. Long haul plus X to all mission rolls, engine activations, and impulse movement. X equals number of your titles, so just be +1. Cannot exceed the normal outfit maximum. Calculate any bonuses on activation. At the start of your turn, you may draw 1 title. It is now available for a player to claim. When you complete a title's objective, you may claim it immediately instead of waiting until your status phase. Oof. I don't know how many titles I'm claiming here, kids. Titles would be great. They're so random, and I know Destroyer is like out already. I'll take Long Bay. See if I can't get some selling and buying going on. These will go here. All I have left is this blaster. I'm going to replace the ship. 2,000 left to spend. 1,000 on a piercer, and then I'll get an engine. I think I'm going to try to kill this dude again. Piercer, so -4 to the shield roll of whoever I'm attacking. And then we have this engine. This goes over on the scoundrel. Oh, he's not even targeting me anymore because I'm a tier 3. Oh, that's so interesting. That's really interesting, kids. Since he's not actually getting close to me, I'm not sure about trying to kill him this turn. I'll actually go ahead and take a GTS and make sure my engines are more efficient. I do want to get back to the center of the board. There's a lot of Explore tokens chilling around over here. So that is the end of my turn. The universe expands. And where do I want to put this? Put it here. It's adjacent to 2. I will match up the arrows. Doravan 5 gets an Explore token. That will do. And now we go to the Enforcer's turn. It has no one to hunt. The Merchant is trying to get here. So +2 to the roll. Next is going to be Neo Damascus, which is over here. The cell space. Finally, the Scoundrel again has no target. I am tier 3 and you are just a bully. This jettison cube comes off the board, so that's +2 to the NPC roll. +2 because the Merchant got to the cell space. So whatever this rolls, +4. So 11 +4 gets us to 15, which does give them another point. So 1 and 2, we get another event. Economic crash. We were so confident. While this card is in play, all cubes in the economy board are removed and placed in the supply. Woo! We place $1,000 on every single part of that, and then this card leaves play. Okay. Might have not taken the Shuttle Bay if I had known that, because that's going to make things a wee bit harder. It means we're going to have to do a lot more excavation and quarries and stuff. I have 6 fame points. Remember, 2 of them came from upgrading my ship. I can't do that anymore. So things are a little bit illusory for me right now in a way that has me a wee bit concerned. Go to my turn. Still interested in some of these relics. Do need to get another mission. So I'm going to use this engine roll. I'm rolling a D6. I rolled a 4 +2 to the GTS. So that's a 6. And then I'm going to spend an energy for the afterburn. I rolled a D20. I rolled a 7. So that's +3. So we have 9 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to use another engine roll. It's a 4. It's a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Can I please get some relics? Come on, buddy. A 12. We get a relic. Ooh, do I risk it again? What's my cushion here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have a decent cushion. Engine, so I can get there because I'm +2. I have an impulse of 1, so I can probably end there. I think this makes some sense. I'm going to risk it one more time. Can I do it twice in a row? Of course not. That's 2 damage. 2 ice damage. Still have a lot of cushion. Let's try it one more time. A 5. Now my cushion is not so much, especially if I want to have space to fit this stupid thing. Oh, it's so annoying. So I got one of the 3 relics. Oh, I took the relic from the wrong pile. This goes back here. I should have taken it from the board. And now I'm going to use my engine. I'm rolling a D6. That's a 6, so I don't get any benefit from the GTS, which is fine. We go 1, 2, 3. We're on here. We slingshot 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do a sift action to see what this is. I can get 2 blues and 2,000 or a fame point. I think the 2 blues and 2,000 make more sense because I can go sell it here. And actually I can use my shuttle bay to sell it there. I'll take the 2 blues and the 2,000. I'm on there. I will take a look at 3 more missions. Deliver goods to clients. I could pick up cargo queues that I would need to get orange, which again, there's nothing to buy from the economy board. Assist. I can fly into any nebula. Second player on my left, so I have to put damage on the merchant, so that's not going to work. So counterfeit. I can fly into a thing in any ice asteroid, and then I can try to launder. I don't love any of these. Assist has the most chance of being reasonable, but probably not going to happen. So I'll just keep that for now. Do I spend 1,000 to heal? Yeah, I think that makes some sense. I'm going to spend 1,000 and heal all this ice damage. In the business phase, I'm going to spend the other 1,000 on a second GTS. It's guaranteed 5 every time I roll, because I can't roll lower than a 1. Even I can't do that. The universe is going to expand. I'll expand over here. I'll connect the arrows. We have a Tiger's Gate. Now the Tiger's Gate is a broken gate, so it's actually not connected to the Delta's Gate. So if you go there, you could just move it and it would move you to a random spawn point. First to do that does get a fame, so that's something I want to do for sure. Enforcer has no target. The merchant's trying to get over there. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We roll because we went through the wormhole. Not a 1, 7, 8. Can't get there. Can't have 2 ships on the same spot. So it's just going to stop 1 further back. Scoundrel doesn't have a target. We do their fame roll. There is no additional to their roll this time. So we roll that. It's a 20. Oh, gross. Unlike players, they don't get a fame when you roll a 20. They do get 2 fame instead of 1. So that gives us another title up for grabs. That is Velocity Warden, Master Sailing the Sea of Stars. To claim this title, be the first player to fly to a mission point in each type of sector in 1 turn. Asteroid, planet, nebula, and debris. They have to be all close. It's actually fairly doable for me. Maybe. It's 2 fame points, so it's definitely something to keep my eye on. It will make my impulse 5. Oh, so sick. That would be something worth going for. My turn, we get the numerator back. That would have come back in the status phase. Oh, these should have refreshed. So 1, 2, 3. Note, I didn't use my impulse last turn. To repair my ship and get the upgraded GTS, I needed to actually stay in the kiln. If I had left then, I wouldn't have gotten to the business phase. I'm going to use an engine and roll a D6. I rolled a 5 plus 4, it's 6. I'm going to use the numerator ability by spending an energy. It's down to 9. I rolled a 5. That's terrible. So plus 3. So I'm at 9 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to spend 3 energy to use my little long haul. My original tier 1 miniature was this dude. I'm going to use 3 energy, so down to 6. This guy is going to use this ability twice in a row. Shuttle up to 4 spaces from your ship, then perform the actions. I'm using cubes for my hold. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. We're selling these 2 blue cubes. We get a fame for selling. We get 2,000 in money. These will create purple. And since purple was in demand, I get that 1,000 as well. Now I'm going to use an engine again. I would have come here instead. The numerator went and did its thing. That's fine. End of the turn, it returns to my ship. If I can get an asteroid field, I get a real shot at that exploration point thing. I undid the second engine. I'm going to spend 1 energy to scan here. And I'm going to connect the T's. It's just a lost sector, which is garbage. I'm going to spend another energy to scan here. I'm going to connect the T's again. I like connecting the T's. Still no asteroids. It's another lost planet. We have an exploration token out there and 3 more relics. You need an asteroid field to get here or here if I have really any shot of doing this. So I'm going to use this engine. I'm going to roll a D6. Again, I'm guaranteed a 5. Oop, got a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to use this engine. I'm going to go to this spot. I was going toward the wrong buy spot. I want to get to that buy spot. I clearly had the movement. I rolled 2 ones in a row, so I can't do worse than that. So I had 5 movement. I can get there in 5. I'm going to spend an energy while I'm here to explore. I'm going to connect the squares. Ooh, there's an asteroid. That's off the screen. Oh no. Put an exploration token there. Or use that last 5 to get to this buy spot. And on that buy spot, I'm going to spend 1,000 to buy these 2 purple, which creates a need for purple. I could sell the purple there and then buy green. It's so interesting. I didn't realize how the buy and the sell was linked like that before. I'm going to use this impulse to get there. Question is, can I get there, there, and there all in one turn? I think I can. I'm going to sell this engine and rearrange my hold around. I'm going to get 1,000 for selling that engine. Now I have 3,000, and then I'm going to go ahead and buy a better engine. And that cost me 3,000. It is the Raptor K engine, which is super exciting. And we're going to put this sucker right there, and we're going to have the 2 GTSs next to it. So I actually never did this bitter karma thing, which is really interesting, but it did leave me really flexible and willing to take a lot more damage earlier than I was anticipating. That's the end of my turn. Flip that. The universe is going to expand. We get something there. I'm going to connect the semicircles. It's another nebula, Lova Stratus. We have an exploration token. And now the NPCs, no target. The merchant's going toward that location. It gets there. Its next target is going to be on Lunari. Let me talk about this assist real quick. As I'm sure you're aware, this increased demand for hollow and plasma means more captains stranded by nebulae. We've been contracted to keep things moving. That's where you come in. When you assist against the NPC always chooses the heal option. But the NPC is going to have damage on it in order to be healed. So one of the things I could do is attack the NPC, then heal it. I would get a bounty, but then I could use this dimension 10 to destroy myself and lose the bounty anyway. But again, I have these cubes. I don't want to have these cubes jettisoned. So I have a souped up engine. We did all of the NPC stuff. We got +2 to the roll because the merchant did make it to its goal. So we're rolling the D20. It's a 5 +2 gets it to 7. 7 is just going to be 1 fame. So now we flip to the B side of the NPC stats. That means the merchant moves 15 every turn, not just 9. We get another event. The event is Motherlode. Unmatched riches are discovered while this card is in play. The mining spaces and astrofields now have the following rules. Instead of the normal results for mining, actually use these. You can take double damage if you roll a 1 through a 5. You gain 1 cargo cube of the type specified in the mining space. You roll 6 through a 10. 11 through 17, you get 1,000, don't gain cubes, and 18 to 20, you get 3,000, and the load collapses, and this card leaves play when the load collapses. I don't think I'm getting that to that mining space, but we'll see. My turn. I'm not getting to a ton of exploration tokens. I got really kind of caught up and I saw this combination of stuff. So I'm going to use my impulse to move the 1. So I'm now on the explore spot on a planet. So that's one of the 4 things I need to touch this turn. Again, it could be a lawful planet, a neutral planet, or an outlaw planet. I'm going to use this engine. I'm rolling a D12, make it big. It's a 3. The 3 becomes a 7. And now I'm going to use this numerator ability by spending an engine. Oh, this would have refreshed because I was on a planet, and then I would have had to recharge my markers by spending 3. And now it's at 10 because I'm using the 1 energy for the afterburner ability. I'm rolling a D20. It's a 17. 17 gives me 5 more, I think. Does so 7 + 5. I have a movement of 12. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I touched the exploration place in an asteroid. So 2 down, 2 to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm rolling a D12. Make it big. 11 + 4. I maxed out at 12. Remember, I don't have to make rolls in Nebula anymore because I have this title. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. What if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Really unlikely that I don't make it, but I can't risk it. I would have to literally roll a 1. I really can't risk it. All right, let's do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I touched all 4 points. I can claim that during the status phase. I have 1 more movement. I'm going to go 12. Let me try to get to this side of the board with all the exploration tokens. I'm going to fire up this engine. If I roll higher than a 1, I'm going to be sad. Oh, God. Woo! Glad I didn't get greedy with that exploration token for sure. So I get to move 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's the end of my turn. I'm going to spend 3 energy, 1, 2, 3, to arm all of those markers. And then I claim the Velocity Warden. I get 2 fame for that. My impulse is 5 for the rest of the game. Super sick. And this will refresh, and my impulse token will refresh as well. We're going to go to the NPC turns. The merchant is moving 15 now. So it's just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ding, it's there. So +2 to its roll. And now the next goal for the merchant is going to be Dorvin 5. So we'll put it on the sell space there. We are heading to the same spot, Mr. Dorvin. We're now going to do the fame roll. So +2 to the roll because of the merchant. 13 + 2 is 15. So 2 more fame. Tell the title for grabs. Raider, praying the weak. To claim this title, will be the first player to destroy the merchant ship. If you do, you do +2 damage to merchant ships when you attack. Interesting. It's only 1 fame. Probably not worth it. Killing a merchant ship is tough. You need to get 20 damage on them, and they roll a D12 in defense. My turn. I'm going to fire up my engine. Rolling the D12. It's a 1. Man. 1 becomes a 5. That's super awesome. So I'm going to go 1, 2, slingshot around the kiln. Rolling the D6. There's a 1. Killing it, guys. And then 3, 4, and 5. I'm in the Farron's Call. Gonna gamble a little bit with this. So I have to roll a D12 once I get into there. I have no more movement. So I'm done after this on this activation of the engine at least. I rolled a 9. That gets me off of that. And now I roll a D6. Please don't roll a 6. I rolled a 4. Perfect. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Since I'm on the orange now, I can go back and forth as much as I want as long as I don't get off the orange. I'm going to fire up my engine. Actually, I could just use my impulse. My impulse is 5. Yoink. So I go 1. What is it? Don't be ice damage. Ooh, it's an orange cube. And then 2, 3, 4. It's 5 more movement. I'm going to immediately get rid of both of those for a fame. And then 5 more movement because of that exploration token. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and then 3. I have to roll a D12 though. I rolled a 2. 1, 2, and now I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3. So I got myself out of that little vortex, got 2 exploration tokens and a fame point in the process, which is great. Fire my engine again. I'm rolling this D12. Can I not roll 1s, please? 6. 6 becomes a 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to waste a couple. I'm going to spend 3 energy as an action to use the ability of my long haul. Long haul is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to sell my 2 cyber, get 2,000 for that. Cyber creates green, which is going to give me 1,000 for that. So I get 3,000 total. And then the ability is going to go again. And now my little shuttle bay is going to go there and spend 1,000 to get the 2 green from here, which creates a need there. I get a fame because I sold 2 cubes of the same type. I'm now going to use my engine again. You need to end on a planet so I can refresh my energy. So I'm going to roll this D12. I rolled a 2. 2 becomes a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to sell this 2 green, get another point, create pink, get this 1,000, and get another 2,000 for selling. And this would have come back on my card. While I'm here, I get to refresh my thing in full. I can move some things around. I do potentially want to become more of a combat-oriented ship. We'll see. Could just buy a point as well. 1 orange is not going to do much for me. I'm going to drop the orange where I am. I get +2 to them. I just want that space. I'm going to sell this blaster. I get 1,000 from that. I'm going to spend 3,000 for the higher blaster. This means I need to move this engine. Sell one of my GTSs. 1,000 from that. The fact that I can just blow myself up and I don't really need shields is pretty sick. I'll get 2 piercers. Actually, I'll move this over. Let me get my 1 GTS back and I'll just hold on to that last 1,000. So I refresh my energy. I spend 3 to rearm these markers. I do expand the universe. Put this over here by the Tigress Gate and I'll connect the squares. Mining operation in the Red Gulch. Another exploration token over here. The enforcer doesn't have a target. The merchant's going to go over here. Merchant's moving 15. So spawn point is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We roll this. Not a 1, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it gets there. So that's +2. This cube makes it +2. The next target for the merchant is Azor, which is here. I'm rolling this +4 to the roll. 15 +4 is a 19. So that's 2 fame. That's another event. Infestation. Chewing on the power cables. While this card is in play, the player who drew this card is now the host. Place this card next to their ship mat. Space rats. Whenever the host rolls a 1, they must take 1 unblockable damage. Once per turn, whenever the host is adjacent to another ship, immediately give this card to that ship. They are now the host. This card leaves play when the host is destroyed. That's another silly thing to remember, but that's fine. We have it. I'm going to now go. I have my impulse here. I'm going to roll my Raptor engine below. I rolled a 12. What a waste of a 12. Actually, before I rolled, it would have been silly to not do this. So I'm actually going to spend the 3 energy, 1, 2, 3. This shuttle bay is going to go out and spend this last 1,000. I'm glad I kept the last 1,000 to buy these 2 cubes and put that there. And that's it. Then I'll just return. Then I rolled. The engine becomes a 12. I'm going to go 1, 2. We get this. What is it? It's a cyber cube. Ugh. Can't do much with that. So that's just going to be jettisoned. Doesn't make sense to hold on to 1. You really need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to use another engine. 2, that becomes a 6. I'm going to use this ability for an energy. 9, that adds 3. So I have 9 movement. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. This flips. It's another pink cube, which actually I could keep because I can sell this one. So I'm going to actually get rid of both of those for a fame and then move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Captain in need card. I'm not going to take that. I'll just take the exploration token. Let me see what I roll here. So I'm going to roll a D12. Rolled an 11, becomes a 12 because of the 2 GTSs. I'm going to go 1, 2, enter the comet's path. The comet's going to move. It rolls 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go into here 3. How much ice damage will I take? I rolled an 11, so no damage. I get this token. Another captain in need. I'm going to get rid of that for a fame. So I'm at 14. We're tied here. I have 9 more movement. So 1, 2. Comet rolls again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 more movement. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Impulse. 1, 2, 3. What's this? 1 ice damage. And then 1, 2. While there's an action, I'm going to sell 3 cubes. That makes orange. I get that 1,000. Another 1,000 comes on the board. I get 3,000 for selling, and I get a point. Another title card, Ice Rock Jockey. It's just a dirty snowball. To claim this title, be the first player to enter a comet's path and have a comet end its movement on a space adjacent to your ship. On your turn, when you roll for comet movement, you may alter it by plus or minus 1 if you successfully claim that title. During the status phase, I will spend 1,000 though to get rid of this ice. To heal all damage. The enforcer doesn't have a target. The merchant's going toward there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 arrives. Next target's going to be in Kemplar 2. +2 because the merchant made it +2 because of that cube. So we're doing the roll. It's 17 plus 4 gets to 21. That's rough because that's 3 fame. Oh, and +2 because it was behind me. So that's +6. So 23. Still just 3 fame. So 1, 2, 3. We have another pink card coming out. If he gets 3 fame next turn, we lose. Loyalty. A change in the political winds while this card is in play. Immediately when this card is drawn, roll a d20. I rolled a 7. All neutral planets are now considered outlaw planets. Whoa. Whenever I enter an outlaw planet, remember I take a bounty. This is a neutral planet is now outlaw. This neutral planet is now outlaw. Outlaw. Did not expand the world. This would have come here, match up the squares, another dead world, 4 of these, and an exploration token. This would have refreshed 1, 2, 3. I wonder if I can kill the enforcer. It's 2 fame, and I need 5 more victory points. I cannot get them all this turn. This would have refreshed. This would have refreshed. My selling enterprise is pretty much over. I get a fame from this mission. The enforcer attacks with just an amazing amount of force. I'm not sure becoming a target for him makes any sense. Gambling a roll of 3 or a 5 there. That would be Ice Rock Jockey. Really risky. That would totally destroy me. Oh, I could just destroy my ship. Oh, yeah. I have no cubes. Oh, that's better. I did not spend 1,000 to fix my ice. I'm getting that 1,000 back. I'm going to use Dimension 10. I'm going to respawn with 0 damage and go to the point of my choice. I want to go here. Fire up the engine. D12. 8 plus 4 is 12. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 more movement. So I have now 13 movement. I'm going to spend both of those for a point. 13 more movement. Forcer is moving 9. Then it would attack me with a D8 and a D20. If it defeats me, it gets the 1 fame. The scoundrel's now in an outlaw planet. So if I enter there, I'm going to get a bounty. Kill the scoundrel, that's a fame. If I buy a fame point, that's a fame. If I do this, that's a fame. So I have 13 more movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Using Tiger's Gate. I'm going to respawn where? I'm respawning at 17. That's a fame point. 17 gets me, there's 18, here's 17, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. As an action, I'm on an exploration point in a nebula. I'm going to place 1,000 coins on there. Now, if I get to the target, second player on my left, who's the merchant, spend X energy, target may choose 1, heal X damage. And again, the NPCs always heal. So I have to give it a damage and heal it, and we get a victory point for that. I haven't been using wormholes to my advantage at all. That's funny. That is not smart. I'm going to use another engine, rolling that. It's an 11 plus 4 is a 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exploration token. It is a Terra cube. I will keep it. I don't want to jettison it and leave them any room to get anything added to their roll. 5 more movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to spend an energy to explore. I'm going to connect arrows. It is a gate. Oh, that's beautiful. Where's the arrow? Oh, it's not connected. Great, but that will do. I'm going to use this last engine. I'm rolling this. It's an 11. I'm going to use this afterburner ability for an energy. Give me a 20. 18. So I have 12 plus 5. So I have 17 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a victory point. Another title comes off. Veteran. Be the first player to have 3 completed and unspent missions of 1 mission type. Not going to happen. I have 10 more movement. 1, 2. This is going to move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8 more movement. 3, 4, and 5. Rolling a d20. I do not take any damage. I'm going to take this. It's a cyber cube. I'm going to get rid of both of these for a point. Signs of life. We heard garbled radio pleas for help. While signs of life aren't found, players that end their action phase in the dead world mission point may roll a d20. 16 to a 20, you get 2 fame points, and the card does not leave play. 5 more movement, plus 5 impulse. I'm going to go into the kiln. It moves again. Moves 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. End of my turn. I'm going to sell my GTS, get 1,000 credits, and then I'm going to buy myself the last fame point to claim victory. I'm a legendary legend. Wasn't even reading the titles here. They're pretty bananas. They go from like unknown, space scum, asteroid worm, mostly harmless, rubbish runner, humble skipper, junk pilot, captain adept, noteworthy rocketeer, calculating cosmonaut, proficient prowler, intrepid navigator, fearless privateer, courageous corsair, dominant raider, dangerous marauder, renowned starfarer, notorious helmsman, dauntless star rover, valiant voyager, and now legendary legend. The NPCs ended on notorious helmsman. We definitely got lucky with their behaviors. The merchant has one where he'll sell a cube and he gets money, and every time he has 5,000, they get a fame point. This is a really muted merchant because effectively every third planet they're getting another fame point. I mean, that would have made a huge difference in this game. We never got on the bad side of the enforcer, and the scoundrel, once we hit tier 3, we just didn't have to worry about him. Having this dimension to fall back on was super huge. We got all the planets out. We were just able to do this buy sell thing. We kept getting 1,000 every time because the whole market went to crap. So again, a lot to really like in this game, but you just see it's a story generator. It's cool. It was nice to get this velocity warden. I was definitely stuck in a place where it's like, oh, I saw it coming together. And the fact that I did not have to roll every time I went into a nebula made that super doable. So the survivor and the velocity warden really went well together. What an interesting build. Not having any shields at all and just not really needing to worry about it was super nice, and just allowed me to focus all my money and making sure I had the best engine out there and making sure I had, you know, the super blaster, which I actually never ended up using because I was just like, I don't know. It's hard to do. I mean, if I say I go on to take on the enforcer, right? I'm rolling a D12. So what, I get a 6 and then a 4. So that's 10. That's not great, dude, because the enforcer now, even if the piercers negate all his defense, now I have a bunch of bounty on me. And then he's going to just make my life super difficult because he's rolling a D20 and a D8 instead, and I didn't have any defense. So I had to think about this another way. I kept hitting my head into the wall trying to beat this a more combat oriented way. I don't know what that says about my personality. and I found it really hard. I do not roll good enough. You would need such a sustained, amazing run of rolls, and then you're just taking damage. And unless you have like Dimension 10 or other things to help you really deal with that, that's a really, really hard way to play this game. Where the exploration tokens, I mean, look at this mountain of exploration tokens I got, right? You know, the exploration tokens and the selling of the cubes is a really super viable strategy. And it just worked out that we were able to basically be the merchant, right? We were just kind of following the same path he was and turning cubes into other cubes and getting 1,000 for it every time because there was nothing left in the market, and just was able to have that money lying around to buy that last victory point. It's a wild game. This will be the last time it gets featured on the channel. I'm not planning to dive into the solo campaign of this. I could see people having a ton of fun with that. The reality is, you say campaign, I mean, we'll take a number step in line between Madara and Resident Evil 3 and Descent, Legends of the Dark, and Frosthaven coming. Like, just too much that I prefer to get to the table over this. But it's a great game. Thanks again to Fair Off Games for really helping round out my friend's copy of Zia. Thanks again to Charlie for letting me borrow this for as long as he has, and look forward to getting it back to him, because shelf space around here is a little bit fickle these days. Considering, I don't know, Return to Dark Tower just got in, a couple other games. You know, is what it is. But such is the life that we live. I hope you all enjoyed this. Questions, comments, epiphanies, please put that in the comment section below. What strategies do you like to take in Zia that I just haven't thought about? So it's funny too, because one of the aha moments was when I was watching Colin's playthrough again on One Stop Co-op Shop. Would definitely recommend that. He seems to roll better than me too. So that's the thing, is that I never thought about the idea of hiding out in an ice asteroid to break line of sight. Well, part of the risk of that, though, if I roll bad, again, I'm taking that damage on the way in, and I don't have any shields. That is one way to make the combat aspect more viable, but you are spending a lot of time then trying to roll really good in targeting. And then if you don't, or even if you do, you still need to roll good to kind of get yourself protected again. So then you can come out and maybe finish off a job you weren't able to finish the last time. The Enforcer, if you defeat him, is considered a tier 2 ship, so that is 2 fame every time, but it's not like he has a bounty on him, so you're not getting any money from that. The merchant, depending on what their behavior is, can have potentially a ton of money on them, which would make them a super target. But again, that's a hefty feat to beat them, especially on side B, when you need 20 damage to kill them and they block with a D12. It just doesn't seem to really add up to me. But again, maybe there's something I'm missing with that. Definitely got a little more complicated for me when all of a sudden the neutral planets became outlaw planets, because it would have been very easy for me to go in there, wipe out the scoundrel, get that 2,000 and a fame point for that. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to become an outlaw, because the Enforcer's instructions are move to target, if in range, attack, repeat steps 1 and 2. So it would have actually moved twice and definitely been able to get over to Neo Damascus and taken a big chunk of health out of my beautiful, beautiful ship. Oh, let me read the postscript. Woo! Let's see what it says. The victory story, Mr. Tubby, it seems, is the best of luck. You have arrived. You felt your whole life you were destined for greatness, even when your older brother was sitting on you, calling you names, and now you've shown him. Your deeds have stirred the entire galaxy. Your name will be remembered among the great for both power and luck. I never rolled a natural 20, so, but generally speaking, we were able to turn around a terrible start, really bad. We're gonna leave this galaxy far, far away. We will be back. If you want to see what's coming up in Solo Playthroughs Land, you can go on my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. On there, you can find the upcoming schedule for this month and a sneak peek at next month. While you're there, if there is a tier of support that you would consider, that would be great. I could definitely use the support as I continue to grow this channel and invest the time and energy it takes to learn these games and present them to the highest level that I can. But either way, thank you so much for joining me today. And until next time, happy gaming.